Yo, hello, it's Mr. Cho, and today I'll be going through the 2022 paper 1 and hopefully, if there's time, paper 4 also. Okay, so let's get started. Alright, so question 21, which role correctly matches cells and organs with their organ system? Okay, so cell, possibly it could be a muscle cell, nerve cell, red blood cell, these are all possible. Okay, but is it with the correct organ? Okay, is it the right cell with the right organ? So muscle and heart, that's correct. And the heart, is it part of the circulatory system? That's also correct. Okay, let's just double check the rest. Nerve is not with the heart. Red blood cell is not from the organ of the artery. And red blood cell is not from the organ of the stomach. So only answer is A. Alright. So question 22, the diagram shows a cell is placed into concentrated salt solution. Okay, so see concentrated salt solution, the more salt you have, the lower the water potential, LWP. So that means that you're putting this high water potential of the cell set, right, the plant cell set, towards the low water potential in the solution. So it will become, over as you can see, plasmolysed and flaccid. Okay, so please don't use the word soft, right? That's a very noob word. Just use the word flaccid. Yes, what's plasmolysed? You can see that all the cell membrane has been pulled away from the cell wall, so that's called plasmolysed. Okay, question 23. 4 different foods are tested for reducing sugar, fat, protein, and starch, and the results are shown in the table. Which row shows the results from the food that contains only protein? Okay, so we know that if it's protein, then it must be purple, right? With the burette test. Okay, so Benedict test, we don't want it to be brick red, so D is wrong already. B is wrong also. Okay, A and C is maybe right. So let's see, ethanol emulsion, it should be clear, so it's K. Burette test, so if this is blue, that means that there's no protein, so this is wrong. Okay, then let's check C. So there's no reducing, there's no fats. Then there's orange brown, that means there's no starch also. Okay, so this one has changed, therefore answer is C. Okay, so question 24. Which processes take place in the liver? Conversion of glucose to glycogen, that is true. Conversion of glycogen back into glucose, that is also true. Okay, so by the way, what hormone would do this? Which hormone will convert glucose into glycogen? That's right, it's your insulin. And then which hormone will convert glycogen back into glucose? That's right, it's your glucagon. Okay, so production of amino acids from urea, this is not true. Okay, and then production of urea from amino acids, this is true. Okay, so this is the excreted product. Urea is made from excess amino acids. So when there's too much amino acids that's in your body will convert the excess into urea and then excrete it through your urine. Okay, so answer over here 1, 2, 4 is D. Alright, now question 25. Which nutrient forms amino acid when it's digested? Of course, with protein. So remember, protein is a long chain of things, right? Different shapes, different types of amino acids. When it's a long chain, that's what we call as a protein. If it's just a few of it, just a few, that's what it calls a polypeptide. And if it's just one of it, then it's an amino acid. Okay, so the simplest form or the basic unit of a protein is amino acid. Okay, so question 26. Which are the products of photosynthesis? We have glucose and oxygen. Okay, so the word product means what is created in the reaction. So we have the 4 things that we need for photosynthesis. We need carbon dioxide, we need water, we need light energy, and we need chlorophyll. Alright, and to produce the products of glucose and oxygen. Okay, so here we have the cross section of the plant stem. The outer layer would be your phloem, the inner layer will be your xylem. Okay, so let's see. X is the phloem, that's wrong. X is the xylem, but does the xylem transport sugar? That's not right. Y is the phloem, that's wrong. And Y is the xylem, Okay, so I'm confusing you over here. Let's write finish. Right, why is the xylem? That's true. So answer is D. Okay, so what is the function of the stomata in a dicotyledonous leaf? So we have a leaf. At the bottom of the leaf, we have all these gut cells, right? And in between the gut cells, there's that hole called the stoma, right? Where the gas exchange can happen, right? So carbon dioxide can enter in, then oxygen, which is produced with photosynthesis, can exit from the leaf. Okay, so this is called gaseous exchange. Question 29. Which blood cell has a thick muscular wall and carries deoxygenated blood? So it says thick, we may straight think of artery, carries deoxygenated blood. This one is a bit tricky. Now, all arteries are thick, right? But there's one artery in particular that carries deoxygenated blood. Okay, and so that will be your pulmonary artery. Okay, remember that pulmonary artery goes from your heart. So this is your heart, right? It goes towards your lung. So it's carrying blood away. Right, so this is your pulmonary artery. All arteries will have a thick muscular wall, and also they have they carry blood away. Then pulmonary vein goes back to the heart, and the pulmonary vein, it carries oxygenated blood. Okay, this is as compared to the other arteries and veins that are found in your body. Okay, next we have question 30. Which row shows the net movement of gases in and out of the blood capillaries of the alveoli? So net movement into the capillaries, carbon dioxide, so wrong. So carbon dioxide goes into the capillaries, and then oxygen goes out of the capillaries. Oh wait, what am I talking about? Sorry, I'm thinking wrongly. Which shows the net movement of gases into and out of the blood capillaries of the alveoli. Okay, so alveoli, and then capillaries over here. Okay, so what is going into? Okay, oh my goodness, I cannot understand the question. Okay, so the oxygen goes into the capillaries, what I'm talking here, and then what goes out of the capillaries would be your carbon dioxide. Okay, so oxygen goes in, then carbon dioxide goes out of the area. Okay, so answer is C. Okay, question 31. Which are the forward equations are shown? Glucose plus oxygen to carbon dioxide plus water. This is to be aerobic respiration. Of course, there's one word missing, which is large amount of energy. Okay, then we have carbon dioxide plus water to give you glucose and oxygen. This is your photosynthesis. Then this glucose plus lactic acid. This is your anaerobic respiration. AN. Okay, then glucose gives you lactic acid plus carbon dioxide. What in the world is this? I don't even know. Okay, so 1 is aerobic and 3 is anaerobic. So A. Answer is A. Okay, question 32. The diagram shows the changes in the concentration of blood glucose during a period of time. During which period will glucagon be released? Okay, so remember, glucagon will increase the blood sugar levels. So when do you need the most, when do you need glucagon? Is when you're feeling very hungry, right? When your blood sugar level is very low. So answer is B. Question 33. Motor neurons carry impulses between which part of the nervous system? Okay, so remember the 3 nervous systems, right? The 3 neurons. We have your sensory, that goes to your relay, goes to your motor, and then from the motor, it goes to the effector muscles. Okay, so your relay is in your CNS, right? Your spine and your brain. That's your central nervous system. Okay, so the motor neurons are carrying impulses between which part system? From the central nervous system, which is here in the relay, to the effector. That seems correct. I just double check. Central nervous system to receptor, that's wrong. Then effector, what in the world is this? From the receptor to the central. No, that's your sensory. And so answer is A. Okay, question 34. Which statement explains why new plants produced by asexual reproduction all look same? Okay, so asexual means they're identical because the same genetics, right? They got same genes, exactly the same genes. So they are genetically identical to their single, right? Because asexual means only one parent. Okay, double check. Genetic identical to 2 parents, not true. The genetically different, already wrong already. It's wrong. Then genetically different, this is wrong, so it's wrong. Question 35. The diagram shows a section through the carpel of a flower. Okay, remember the word carpel refers to the female parts, right, or the female parts. And then when the embryo is developing after fertilization. Okay, so this is your pollen grain, PG. Then this is your stigma. Okay, this one will be a style. Then this area, ovary. And then this hole, your micropyle. And then this is the ovule. Okay, so which structures contain cells with nuclei that are genetically identical to the nuclei of cells in the flower? Okay, it's a bit tricky, let's read carefully. Which structure contains cells with nuclei that are genetically identical to the nuclei of cells in the flower? Did I miss out something important here? So the cells in the flower are normal cells, right? Right, therefore I don't know the normal amount of chromosomes for a flower, which I don't really know. But that means that the cells in the ovule are not the same because they are gametes, and gametes only have half the number of cells. Then the same for the cells that are in the pollen grain. Those also only have half the number of chromosomes. So that means that the cells in your style have the same number, and the cells in the ovary tissue around it also have the same number. What a strange question. Okay, so 3 and 4. Okay, so here we have the structure of 2 nucleotides in DNA. Okay, so we have our phosphate group. This is our phosphate group, our sugar, and then our base. Okay, so what is the correct order? It will be phosphate group on the left. So this C and wrong is already. So phosphate group is on the left, and then your sugar has to be in the middle, and then your base has to be on the right. Okay, this is because your bases are what are binding to the other bases, right? So there's a double strand, another strand is over here, and then they are binding. Okay, so its answer is A. Okay, then question 37. This shows a section from a single strand of DNA. How many molecules of the base cytosine are found in the double-stranded piece of DNA? Okay, so then I have to multiply lah. Okay, so first of all, I count the number on this strand. So I got 1 here. And then I have to see on the complementary strand, right? Okay, so I just write out whichever C I need. Okay, so here it's sorry, there's a C here, C here, C here, C here, C here. Okay, so I only count the C's, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, double check that I didn't miss anything. No more C's at the top, no more C's at the bottom. So there are 6. Okay. Question 38. In the pyramid diagram, which pair indicates the correct proportion for a tree and the animal population in the food chain? Okay, so biomass must always follow the typical pyramid shape. So this is wrong already. This is also going to be wrong. Okay, that's why it's B and C. So biomass, okay, both correct shape. Numbers, okay, very few trees. Okay, so the trees are very few. And this one doesn't matter because trees are much lesser as compared to the insects that live on the tree. So answer is B. Question 39. The diagram shows a section of the carbon cycle. Which arrow represents respiration? Okay, so we got carbon dioxide and atmosphere, and so we got carbon in the plants and animals. Okay, so of course this will be respiration, but it's not there. Then carbon in the plants, when the plants also respire, because remember that plants are doing both processes of photosynthesis and respiration at the same time. So that's respiration. D, this is photosynthesis. This is feeding. Okay, then this one is the carbon sink, right? So carbon sink. Okay, so anyway, the answer should be D. So 39, D. Okay, last question. water pollution by sewage can lead to which environmental changes? Okay, so first of all, water pollution, if the sewage contains fertilizers, right? A lot of fertilizers, that will lead to algae growth. So remember that algae growth is because the algae are also plants, and so they also grow because of the fertilizers. So when there's too much algae and all that, it causes the eutrophication, the plants in the water die, the fish in the water die. That will then lead to a increase in the bacteria in the water. Because why? Because the bacteria are actually feeding on the dead parts of the fish and the plants. So there'll be a lot of bacteria in the water. Okay, will there be an increase in oxygen content? No, there's in fact a decrease. Okay, so answer is 1 and 2. So that's the answer over here. Okay, so we are done with paper 1. Okay, so you can pause the video. If you find it very fast, you can just slow it down. If it's too slow for you, you can speed it up. Alright, so try to do the MCQs consistently. My way of doing MCQs as I'm doing is I always try to eliminate wrong things as I'm doing. So you see like how I do it is I start by looking at what's wrong, I eliminate it, and then I look at what's right. Look at what's right. Okay, that's the best way to do the MCQs. And of course, I'm not going to do it, but then you need to check lah. Okay, because it's very prone to make careless mistake, especially on tricky questions like, for example, this question. A lot of people will not read carefully and they just count the number of C and say, oh, just one C. They didn't read that it's a double strand, so actually you have to provide all the C's at the bottom strand and then count them together. Okay, so with that, I'll pause the video here. We'll continue on part 2 soon.